Hey, everybody. Looks like we got a few people joining already. I am going to just say hi to everybody. Thanks for joining. I was a little impromptu. I was going to go live last night, and then I realized that my Packers were playing. And although it was a good game till the very end, my boy Jordan Love, he uh, he got hurt in the brutal end. Um, Last couple seconds, he's hurt. Not fun. So yeah, give me a shout in the chat if you can hear me. Um, if we're all coming through loud and clear. You guys probably know the drill if you've been on any other live streams, in the slot car industry in our niche. But if you have a question, not that there's going to be probably a ton of chatter going on, just put a Q before it. I'm answering any questions that you guys have about the garages while I work on putting the finishing touches on shipping a garage. Dan says loud and clear. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for joining. Great supporter of the channel, as usual. Appreciate it. But yeah, we'll just say Doug's here too. Thanks, brother. Um, but yeah, so Packers game. We lost, and we lost our quarterback. Looks like 3 to 4 weeks for his injury. At least that's the initial guess. But we're not here to talk about football. We're here to talk about slot cars, right? Slot car pick garages. It's Q&A. You might notice that I'm coming at you from a different angle than the normal like Saturday morning cartoons. That's because I've got a camera up above so that you guys can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. We'll switch to that in just a minute. But yeah, what's up, everyone? I've gotten a handful of garages shipped out. By handful, I mean like eight or nine. I think tonight I built number 10 yesterday, and I think tonight I'm going to build number 11. I invited the gentleman who hit this garages for him. I invited him to come tonight. I don't know if he'll pop in or not. I don't know what his YouTube name is, and I'm not sure he wants me to share his real name, so I won't do that unless he comes on and says it's okay. But yeah, it's pretty fun. So this is a garage that's actually going to ship out. Sort of funny, not so funny story is the last batch. I had some technical issues shipping them out, but all worked out. I worked today with one of the guys. The doors weren't going up and down. I think it's the same problem that Marty has, and so I'm adding a step to the instructions to hopefully help with that because we solved it. And it's really just that you got to flex the actual doors a little bit more to get them to go smoothly through the tracks. So that's going to get added to the instructions. So anybody who gets the next couple batches will see that. Will understand what I'm talking about when they get it. But yeah, I think we'll just switch over. We're going to switch to this view. Let's see if that works. There you go. Now you guys can see me. I can talk to you guys. I can see your chat still. I also put a second monitor over here, right at you. I'm looking right at it, so I can read what you guys are saying. But yeah, I'm gonna get started. I don't know. It'll take probably hour and a half. I don't know if we'll stay on that long. We'll see how long people want to hang out. But yeah, fire off any questions. I'll sort of walk through what I'm doing. Not that it's like super important, or that you're super interested in me actually putting this together, because this is all pre-assembly. And as I say that, I've got my moderator, my chat moderator, joined us. Let's see if I can add him. There we go.
What's up, Pete?
How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining me. I'll put you right over that Busch Light can. I'll drink that a little bit. But how you doing, bud?
I'm alright.
Good. I was just saying hi to everybody in the chat. It looks like we got like 6 people watching. I've got Doug and Dan saying hi, and I was just explaining that I'm putting together the parts. I've got all the sort of parts here, big old bag of parts here. So I'm doing the pre-assembly tonight. So I'm just going to kind of walk through that and then see, if people have questions about the garage or about future projects or whatever, I figured, you and I can chat about whatever. We can answer questions that they have, and then sort of go from there.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Hey, hey, PNW, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. I saw that. I just saw that video that you picked up the Batmobile. Super jealous. It's high on my list. I don't have any Skill Extra cars yet, but that one and
You mean this thing?
yeah, that's the one. I mean, of course you have it.
Yeah,
The one.
that's the one.
The one. Yeah. What's new with you? Busy weekend?
Yeah, I was at Ernie's today. They were running some racing today. So Ernie had asked me to come by and do some shooting. So I did that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So kind of cool.
Getting some footage of the races.
Yeah, they were doing a 3-hour endurance race.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. Interesting
Yeah.
to watch. Yeah. How
So,
about you?
Today my daughter had a soccer game this morning, so we went to that. And we're usually, my family we're always late to everything. Always late to everything. But this time we had on our calendar that it started at 10:30 in the morning, so we show up about 10:10, 10:20, thinking we're like late and she's gonna miss her warm-ups with her team. And nobody's there. Nobody's at the field. We don't know what's going on. And sure enough, it started at 11. So we were like wicked early. It's like we're never early to anything. We don't even know what to do. We're like, should we go get a coffee or a donut or something? But it all worked out. But yeah, just so you guys know, these pieces are they're straight off my printer a couple days ago. But that's why I'm peeling off some of the supports. There aren't many supports, but and they're all wind up getting hidden by other parts when we install them. But that's usually the first step I do is pull all that stuff off. So this one's mostly clean. There's a couple pieces in here that I gotta rip off. But yeah, so did you do any racing at
No,
Ernie's or just filming?
Yeah, by the time he told me about it, it was already started. So
Oh.
I just got there just in time to watch. Just in time to do some of the videoing. I never even stayed for the whole thing because they were halfway through. It's a 3-hour endurance race, and they were
Okay.
halfway through by the time I got there. So, and then just did a quick little bit of filming, and then I came back because I have my daughter on the days Ernie runs these things, so I try and not do too much of the slot car stuff and try and have the
Spend
time
time with
to
her.
spend with the family too. Yeah, go see my mom
Yeah.
and stuff, right? So
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
yeah,
That's always
So-
good.
yeah. So and I also got Ernie gave me something, but I'm not allowed to even talk about it or showcase it till.
That's all right.
in
Nobody's
the
watching,
future.
Raul. It's okay. Nobody.
Yeah, he was
That's
very
exciting,
strict.
though.
He's like, I'm gonna
Okay.
give you this, but you're not allowed to mention it at all. I was like, okay, well, what's the point of giving it to me then? He's like, no, it's for you. Actually, he was really nice. He gave it to me for free. He gave me
Oh,
a
that's
car
cool.
for free. So,
And it's is it like a later release or just something? Yeah. Well, you don't have to say anything. Never mind. Sorry. I don't want to put you on the spot.
yeah,
But
so it's a new.
that's cool.
It's a new MR slot car that's coming. So
Very cool.
yeah, so I got it. I haven't even looked at it. So, but
Very cool.
yeah, I hate when he does that to me. He's done it so many times. I knew I had the shadow in my hand many months before it came out. It was so silly. But I'm
Yeah.
not allowed to show it to anyone. I even had the chassis and the guide installation part of it,
Yeah.
like months before anyone had even seen it. But I wasn't allowed to show it to anyone. He's like that. Even the metal chassis that he's got, like I have prototypes of it cut for my cars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, but that's Ernie. Yeah, we were having a laugh. He actually watched the Electric Dreams interview of me and Massimo and said, "You guys are so funny," and yeah, he was happy that he's a big part of our journey in slot cars, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah. It's kinda
Oh, well, that's so
cool.
cool that you got a connection to to the local shop.
And not only a local shop, but a person that actually makes slot cars, right? Like he,
Well, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he's an MR slot car. He's, I can go and talk to
He is
Ernie.
the guy. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty cool. That's next level.
yeah. I think it is. It's a little bit of a privilege that we have. So lucky. They gave
Yeah,
me
that's
some
awesome.
new tires and rims to test out as well. So I gotta put them on the car and check them out. So Ernie, I always thought that Ernie took his wheels from CB Design or something, but he
Okay,
actually makes his own wheels. So the air gap wheels that he made are unique to Ernie's. So
that's pretty cool.
yeah, interesting little things.
More parts somewhere.
I also
Getting ready
got
for these.
I got this.
Well, that's quite a box.
Yeah, this has come from my good friends from Magnetic Racing.
Whoa,
So
that's a lot of magnetic racing stuff.
I tend to have a lot of it always.
Yeah, very cool.
And then, as per usual, I got a beautiful UPS bill for it as well. So
Yeah, since I've been shipping to Canada a little bit, I've been hearing about that. The pains
it's
of
just
the
part of it. It's like if you're a Canadian, just accept it. If you
yeah.
can't accept it, move to a different country. That's it.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
is
bottom
what it
line.
is.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. The bills,
Yep.
they come with the bill, so it's all good.
Yeah, they're coming
But
one way or
yeah,
another, right?
so while you're
A
doing
big
that, I'll
box.
cut this open.
Yeah. So also with the garage, just what I'm working on now, I removed all the supports, so all the supports from all the parts, super easy. They pop right off. But everything from the garage is held together with screws, right? But you can't screw into, well, I mean, I guess you can screw into plastic, but it wouldn't be very sturdy. So these little brass inserts, let's see, it's not going to focus, but this little brass insert, I've designed holes into the bunch of different places on the building, and then I swap out my soldering iron tip. If I can do it right. So I got a big fat soldering iron tip, and this is like the janky way to do it, but it's the way I do it. But basically, you just got it. They're heat inserts, so you just heat them up, and then they melt into the plastic. So turn on my soldering iron here. I'll let that heat up, and then these guys you just push them right in, and then when it gets to where it's going, you can screw them in.
Nice.
Just like that, it's hot. So yeah, you just boom, melt them right in.
Nice. I got me some bridges. The Hughes bridge.
Heat up.
What is this? Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, I got me 3 Hughes bridges.
Bridges for the track, or are they bridges like over the track? I don't know if I saw somebody did a video on them, but I don't know if I ever looked at it.
They are for elevation.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so I got 3 of them. I'm trying to do like a little mini diorama.
Okay.
So with my Scalectric track. Yeah, so I will be building this for that first, and we'll see. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
I got that to
cool.
do.
So then these are all, it's easy as that. These pieces, well, they're just about done, not quite. But I like to do all the heat inserts at once. That way I don't lose track of what I'm doing like I am right this minute. But there's 2 sizes just because of what I'm doing. This part takes a while, so bear with me, guys.
Hey, Fox
Fox, yeah.
1409, how are ya? Thanks for joining us.
So
Super.
fast. Nice to see you,
Sylvester
bud.
there
Thanks for
too.
joining.
Hey, what's up, Sylvester? Cool.
So anybody joining now, it's not, you haven't missed too much. Just pulled off some supports. I'm doing the heat inserts. This part is not exciting, and it takes a little bit of time, but wanted to show you guys all the process. Everything was pre-printed, so I don't know if any of you guys saw my post the other day, but I got a second 3D printer so that I can print these things and keep up with you guys who are wanting them.
You using filament printer or are you using a resin printer for this?
Filament, yeah, filament.
Okay.
It would, in order to print these pieces on a resin printer, it would have to be a massive resin printer, or at least massive compared to what most resin printers are. I don't have any experience with that. I wanted to get one. I was doing a long time ago. I tried to get into playing Star Wars Legion,
Yeah.
the war game, and so I was building a bunch of stuff for that. And anyway, I wanted to get one, and I looked into it, and just the, like, I don't know, the trickiness, or I don't know if it's dangerous, but just the nature of the resin material and spills and that sort of thing. With a 7-year-old in the house, I decided to not go down that route.
Right.
I don't know. I've seen really cool stuff. I mean, I was watching, been watching some of the stuff that George and well, the three amigos, I guess all three of them were working on it. Those bodies of those cars are so cool.
Yeah.
Just really incredible what kind of detail you can get with those. So I'll say never, but not in my future. I'm much more into like the bigger 3D prints like this guy, because this would never fit. I mean, I don't know if they make resin printers, but I think it would probably be way out of my price range if it was that big.
Yeah. No, I used to have filament when I first started 3D printing.
Yeah.
But it's okay. When I was doing Wargame Terrain, we did a lot of it, and then my friend Adrian started his own 3D print farm, so I didn't have to print much anymore. So I
he do it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we were part of the same club, so there was no point in me doing that. When I had like the print shop where I had to do all the printing for the team apparel and stuff, so.
Okay.
And laser cutting, so we used to laser cut a lot of stuff too. So I used to concentrate on the laser cutting stuff.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah.
You still do any laser cutting?
I have a 24-inch by 36-inch bed, 85-watt laser cutter. Like it's an industrial laser cutter.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty
yeah,
serious.
I still cut. The only problem is the place where we were at, where my shop's at, my print shop. The laser cutter, although we put in all the ventilation and stuff, there's people that work above us, and they started complaining about the burning smell, so they kind of restricted our use of our laser right now. So.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah, it's all good. Still runs, still works, but we cut rarely. Yeah, I think the most deadly smell is the acrylic stuff. So.
Yeah.
You can get away with wood, but once you start burning acrylic, it's pretty toxic.
Pretty nasty. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so I got, I don't know, it's probably a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago. I was printing on a Ender 3.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people's first printer. And I loved it, and I was doing great stuff with it, but with that printer, it's kind of one of those things where if you don't use it very often, then it gets a little out of whack, and then you wind up having to level the bed, and it becomes like, it's always, 3D printing is always like a hobby within the hobby, right?
100%.
But yeah, with that one, it was like, it got to the point where it's like, oh, I want to print this thing that I found. It's so cool. And like, I would have like 6 different 6 different failures in a row, and it wasn't sticking to the plate. And I was just like, all right, I'm done with this. So I just like set it aside for a while, didn't use it. And then a friend of mine, was had a Bamboo Labs and had never used it, and he gave it to me. He gifted me the gift card to go pick it up because he had returned it and wasn't going to use it. And so I picked one up. I was like super grateful. And the P1S, the printer that I have, is like, it honestly is plug and play. It's the closest thing you can get to plug and play in the 3D
Yeah.
printing hobby. I mean, it is incredible. And then the second one I just bought earlier this week, like Tuesday I went out and got it. I got it with the AMS, the Automatic Materials System. So it's
Nice.
got a little spool holder on top of it
Yeah.
that holds 4 different colors or 4 different materials, and you can swap between them. The software can swap in between them instead of me having to manually do it.
Yeah.
So it's just having 2 printers going at once and not having to like be down around it when I need a color change has just sped up everything. So
Yeah.
it's been fun.
So the question I guess everyone's gonna be asking is what's next?
Yeah. So I've been working on. If any of you guys watched Saturday morning cartoons, was it last week, a week ago.
Yeah.
I showed a little glimpse of that the photo thing.
Yeah.
And at the time it was just working on a button, and that's usually how I do. Even when I was building this the first time, that's how I do the prototypes. Just because if it works on a button, then that's easy to wire up, easy to do a prototype with, and then I can program in the sensor or
Yeah.
whatever else. So I got it to work. Showed you guys a little bit of that on that show, and then with that, I ordered the sensors, which I actually have it over here. So, and this is like super super janky, but this is what my prototypes look like. They're a hot mess. But this is the sensor, and so as the car goes by, they flash, and it works. So it's not quite as sensitive as I would like. So when I put it right next to the track, it only catches the one lane. I'm trying to decide whether if that's okay or not.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see with that, but that's working. I got these. Where did I put it? These new lights with longer leads on them, and they're super delicate, but they're also. I mean, you probably can't even see. Let's see if I can move it. That little like speck right there.
There's the
That's the
light.
actual LED. So I was a little worried about how fragile the wires are, but today I tested it and put a plug on it, and it crimped on fine. And one, I didn't crimp right, so it wants to slide out. It's not, but it wants to. So since that worked, I'm gonna try another prototype with those light bulbs, because it's a 12-inch lead
Yeah.
wires, so that way it can go a variety of different places. So as usual, I was talking to Joe about it today, off and on throughout the day, and we were brainstorming about do I build it just to be installed in other grandstands? Do I design my own grandstand? So
Well, I think if you design your own, you would integrate it better, right?
yeah, for sure,
So I
for
mean,
sure.
there's no harm in that. But as a kit, you could sell the light kit separately too, right? So
Yeah, I
if
was
not
thinking.
somebody wants to install it, then they can do that. Because
Yeah,
you know, because like right now, like even with your garages, it's a good thing that they look kind of part and parcel of the Carrera stuff.
yeah,
Because I have like 20 Carrera garages,
yeah,
so it's like, oh yeah, I want to replace all of them with, button operated doors and stuff, but
yeah.
it's 20 garages, so
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah,
But the fact that when I saw them on Joe's layout next to the Carrera stuff, I was like, oh, you know what? Kind of fits the bill. You could have this as the main garage on your track and stuff, and have the other ones as peripheries behind it.
yeah, they
So
fit. It's
yeah,
funny because I don't own any of the Carrera ones,
yeah,
And so I printed one that I found online, and I've been using those when I first built the track. Well, when I first got the nicer printer, and
Yeah.
so those I was working on, and I put them on the table. And after a little while, my brother and I were racing, and we were like, it'd be cool is if those doors went up and down. And then that's what got
Yeah.
me started designing this thing. And as it turns out, they yeah, as it turns out, it worked. I'd never seen the Carrera ones. I mean, I'd seen them in the store, but never really seen one in person. Shipped mine to Joe, and he sent me a picture. He's like, "Oh, they're all done," and I was like, "Oh, those look rad next to your garages." Like, thank God. Like,
Yeah.
just a
No.
lucky coincidence, but
Yeah, but that's a bonus, right? Like that's the whole
yeah,
thing. I think if you are going to do grandstands, you'd have to think about putting them next to something else that was already in the market, I guess,
yeah. So
and
that
seeing the fit and finish, right? Like I think that would be something cool.
yeah. So
But you
hopefully,
know
yeah.
what? I think you're doing such a great job, and it's so unique and different. So just do what you want to do, man. Like it's all power to
I
you.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's been fun. The amount of like love that people have gotten. Like people who have gotten them already. The people who have been seeing it. Like it's just been a lot of fun because it.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me forever because I was so like every time I'd get to a stage where it's like, oh, it's ready to go, and then as you know, sometimes Joe then chimes in with an idea, and then it's like, oh yeah, I can do that, and then 3 months later, it's like, okay, I finally got that part to work. Um,
Yeah, I cut my own garages, out of MDF some
yeah,
time ago. Yeah. Um, yeah, so what I was gonna ask you, are you gonna do a little bit of like accessories for in the interior of the garage? You could do that as a little add-on,
yeah,
like a little like tool chest or something, or like something just to dress up the interior, because that wouldn't be too difficult to model and too difficult to pack and ship either, right? And
yeah, and it's
little,
definitely I've thought about it. I've found some online that that I don't know if I can do a better job than they did, but it's definitely on the list.
yeah,
Um, on the list of things that I would love to do. I was talking today, um, after I got the prototype of the photo lights done, I was like, oh man, if this works, what else could I do with a sensor that would trigger something? And I was like, oh man, what if I could like have one stick out of the garage and have like worker guys come out of the garage, the pit crew come out or something, and that's way down the road, but yeah, I've thought about
yeah. One of
like
that, like the hockey tables where they actually slide with the thing. You actually have actuators that will push them
yeah,
out and then push
yeah, it
them
would just
back
be like a
in.
slide. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um,
could even do it like magnets or something, so you could use any pit guys, just put a magnet on their base and would do it. But we'll see.
yeah, a
We'll see.
simple thing that I think you could do to the garage is adding like two copper leads on the edge of that slot where the car sits, so the
Yeah, no,
cars actually light up. Like that was
oh, I
one
didn't
thing.
think about just getting them to light up. That's a
Yeah,
good
because
idea.
the cars do have lights, and when the garage is open, maybe that would light up the cars too, right? Because any car with lights would light up.
That's true.
I think that would be just a simple little add-on or a thing that you could look into.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be relatively easy, even if I could just like do a homebrew. Here's how you would do it, kind of thing.
yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
really just. I mean, I even
I
have.
think it's just two copper tape. You can put two pieces of copper
Yeah,
tape down, and somehow have them connect to the
just like on a
lead.
battery or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because that's something that when I get my hands on yours, I'm gonna paint yours though. I'm just
I
gonna
don't
be a
care.
little bit different. I'm gonna paint them, so airbrush it and see what it looks like
Yeah,
uh,
and I'll
as
show you when
well.
I get to the part of the walls.
Yeah,
I'll show you. Originally, the windows were glued in,
yeah,
and then I was having trouble with because I only buy cheap super glue, and I know that like anyway, it was fogging. You know how like super glue sometimes gets that like
yeah,
white haze, and it was like it just was driving me nuts, and I could never get it quite right, and I didn't want to I didn't want to mess with it, and then I was like, well, in the future I want to order new or offer if you wanted to, you could change out all the colors. So instead
Yeah.
of red on your thing, you could do blue or you could do green or whatever in the future. And I'm offering it now for somebody if they want to order it that way. But but I was like, oh, if they're glued in, then you need a whole new wall, and that's not cool, and that's too expensive, and then you're just wasting some walls. And so I'll show you when I get to that part. But the windows actually pop in now,
Okay.
which is also good, and it solved the problem for painting because you can pop those windows out. The pane comes out of them too because it's three pieces, the actual window. So you could paint the window frames whatever color you wanted. You could paint the wall without having to mask anything. You can just go to town on it. The only thing you'd want to mask is the screw holes,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're set up for it. Initially, I was gonna just make the building white, the whole thing white, so that you could paint it whatever color you wanted. And then it's kind of brainstorming. I was like, well, not everybody's going to want to paint them. Some people are just going to want to put this thing on their table and just go. So that's why I picked the color. The color scheme went with my channel color scheme and my my track. So I was like, all right, I'll do this, and then offer other colors in the future. So that's how that came about. I forgot I got
So
one more.
Fox 1409 is asking how much at the garages, Pete?
So typically, I have not been saying how much they are on stream in case I have to change the price in the future, but I'm pretty locked in on how much they are. Essentially, the first one, so if you're ordering one, it's $150. And so that's 150, and then any additional one that you order is 125. And the reason they're a little bit less expensive is because you only need one remote to control them all. So if you order three, you're getting one remote because it controls all of them. And then the only other things are I'm doing the custom banners. I don't know if I have one around here somewhere, but the custom banner that goes on the front. If you want your track name or your YouTube channel name or anything like that, I'm charging $35 for that because I got to design it and print it. And then I think $25 if you want to change the colors. So if you want different trim, and then if I'm shipping outside of the U.S., it's an extra $10 on, and that's just the whole order. That's
Yeah.
just to help me cover the difference in shipping. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. 150 for the base product, your first one, 125 for each additional one. If you order one and then order another one later and tell me like, hey, I've already got one and I don't need the remote, I'll sell that one to you for 125. No big deal. But
Cool.
yeah, that's the first time I've said it on a YouTube video. So, but I wasn't super confident in the price range. I thought I might have to jump it up from there. But now that I've got the two printers going, it's not taking me quite as much of my like actual physical mental attention to get them done. I'm comfortable with that price. So
Yeah.
they're not cheap, but they're worth it. I think
Well, you don't buy a garage every day, right? So
that's true.
it's not. It's a
It's
it's a
not like
single
cars.
piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's the price of a car, kind of, right? Like it's not that far off.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really cool piece. So
I appreciate it. I'm stoked on it. So all of the brass inserts are done now. Now that I got those two, this front piece, this build plate just doesn't fit on my printer, so you got to have this added. So that comes screwed on just like this. This is the computer board, and so I'm gonna install that next. This is like the top secret part. I'm just kidding, not really top secret, um, but yeah. So this is what does all of the magic. So that plops in right in there. And if I can get it to align correctly. And all of this is obviously already pre-assembled. Yeah, so I'm sorry, shipping is included in the $150 price. If it's going anywhere outside of the U.S., just because it costs me like twice as much to ship it, I'm just charging 10 extra bucks if I'm shipping it outside of the U.S. And typically, unless reserve the right to find whatever the least expensive shipping method is within reason. But typically so far it's been USPS flat rate. So, and it's the same anywhere in the world outside of the US. So that's why I can just charge you 10 extra bucks to ship it out of the US, and it's just to cover some of that shipping expense. It is not cheap to ship this stuff out of the US, but $10 helps me eat some of that cost. But I didn't want to like, because it's almost 3 times as much to ship it outside of the U.S. as it is within the U.S. And so, I don't want to charge that to you guys because I don't think that's right. But I also can't just eat it either. So that's why there's 10 extra bucks.
I think that's very generous of you, to be honest. As a person that lives in Canada and is used to paying the stupid shipping rates we do, I think that's a really gentlemanly thing for you to do.
Yeah, I didn't want to yeah.
Yeah.
I think wasn't right. I don't think it's right that it costs that much more to ship. It's funny because it's the same. The flat
Well,
rate shipping that I'm using, it's the same to ship it to Canada, like a mile across the border, as it is to ship it to Australia, which is
really?
insane.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
It's
flat
just
rate box, international,
yeah,
but it's like that's just insane to me. So I was
uh,
like, that's not right.
yeah.
And I know that you guys in Canada are going to
We're
pay your
used to it.
customs fees anyway, so
Yeah,
and
it's
I have no
brutal. It's
control over
brutal.
that.
Yeah, but I got used to it now. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind
Well,
of
it's like
one
my
of those
eBay
things.
shop. Like I don't for my eBay shop, right? Everything is controlled by eBay. The way I do it is I just put the weights in from the product and the box size of the product, and
Right?
eBay does the rest for me. So it takes
Yes.
care of, and I don't get people message me saying, "Oh, if I package ship it together, will you give me a refund?" I'm like, "No, because I don't get to see the money. eBay automatically sets up the
Yeah.
shipping, and then something sells, I just have to print the label."
Right.
So it's already paid for. So all I have to do is put it in a box, whatever box standard size I've already put into eBay, put in that box, put in the stick the label on, and just ship it out. And that's because eBay already does all the custom paperwork and everything for me as well. So, yeah, I totally get it. But you know, yeah, in the U.S. it's easier because you guys have so much infrastructure, and shipping is much easier in the United States than it is like in Canada, where even though we're on the southern end of Canada, and there's a lot of like there's one shipping route, right? There's the
Okay.
whatever Trans Canada Highway,
Oh,
but
right.
it's ridiculous like to that the rates, like the distances are long and the rates are expensive. So because it's only one kind of artery, right? And then it branches off from there. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
totally understand there's not enough infrastructure to support multiple couriers and multiple shipping
Yeah.
destinations, right? Yeah. When I ran my performance car shop, I used to have a depot in Buffalo, and we used to ship everything to Buffalo, and then I used to physically drive across the border, pick it all up, do my own custom brokerage.
Yeah.
Kind of saves you about 15% or whatever it is of the customs fees. But it takes a whole day. It's like a day out of your life.
Yeah.
You're driving across the border, you're picking stuff up,
Waiting in
going.
lines, doing all
You have
that.
to
Yeah.
go in. You have to do all your customs paperwork at the border, and then you have to pay off whatever you owe, and then then you're home free. But it's like 2 hours to go to the border, another hour to get to my depot. That's 3 hours gone. Then come back to the border, do 2 hours worth of paperwork, sitting there waiting for them to stamp it, and then it's another 2 or 3 hours back home, and yes, the whole day is gone. So, but
Yeah. You're saving money, but you're paying for it with your time.
yeah, it's
Right.
a full day gone. So
Which, yeah.
yeah, if you're doing a lot of volume, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
if you're bringing a truck across, that's fine. But if you're going in for one or two items, it's just not worth it.
Not worth the time. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Time's money, right? Okay. So, Fox, you're asking me what the dimensions are. This is the base plate. Obviously, the roof overhangs the track a little bit, but so that I don't include in the dimensions, but it's No, now I'm gonna forget it. It was on my big video, but I think it's 23 by 23. Yeah. So it's 23 centimeters by 23 centimeters, and then it's basically 11 and a half centimeters tall. So this way, but the footprint that you need on the table next to the track is 23 by 23. So hope that helps.
So all the electronics on the roof, right?
Yeah, it's all in the roof, and I played with them being on the back wall and a couple other places, but then if you have to take it apart for anything, or like when I put new cars in it, I lift the whole thing up, put a car down, and then put it back down.
Oh, okay.
Because it's super simple to assemble, which is that's like you'll see on both on here. There's these channels, and on the base there's these channels, and then on all of the walls so that's the groove,
Yeah.
and this is the tongue, I guess. And
So it's very modular then.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so those pop right in. So when they're assembled, the roof just pops right off. And initially the tracks, wherever they are, for the garage doors, this piece here was attached to the front wall because then I could make sure they were lined and all that. But then you had to like disconnect the garage doors in order to get the roof off, and so it was just a pain. And so then that's what these are. So now
Yeah.
the track's attached to this, everything attaches to this, the lights are on it, the motor's on it, the electronics are on it, everything's on the roof. All the rest is just cosmetic, I guess. There's
Yeah.
no functioning piece of any of those, so that it's very simple. And that just helps. That helps everything. It helps with assembly. It helps with disassembly. It helps with if you have a problem or something gets stuck inside there or whatever. Oh, I'm an idiot, and I did this wrong.
You have to put the tracks in.
Yep. Well, I got to put the gear.
Did you pull a Joe? Joe did that twice.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, and that was the red tracks because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put those together tonight because that's done after shipping so that they don't snap off. But yeah, he put them on backwards twice,
Yeah.
even though in the instructions I said it's very clear. Like I close up pictures of them, and he even helped me make those instructions, and he's like, "Yeah, it's super clear. I know what to do." And then,
Yeah.
he did it wrong twice.
Interesting.
But I mean, we all know Joe. It's bound to happen.
It's Joe. We know that.
We love you, Joe, but yeah.
I don't know why you keep on saying you love him. Nah. I don't know what you're talking about. Where is he anyway? Hey, look who it is. Marty in the house.
Marty, hey Marty, how are you, man? Yeah, I was gonna tell you I had a similar issue with that your doors are getting a little jammed. Similar issue with a gentleman who called me today. We talked on the phone for a while, and we solved it. And it's really just you take that door and you just wrench on those hinges. You just work it. You can't break it. And if somehow you manage to, like, don't put it in a vise and hit it with a hammer, but if you wrench those things and get them really soft, then it goes like butter. So that was the solve there. So I know yours are getting stuck and hung up a little bit, but that should fix it. Because what I'm discovering is I break them in and I soften them up because it prints on the print bed, just flat. Oh, good, you already took care of it. Awesome. And it's just super thin at those hinges so that it can bend. And no matter how much I flex them beforehand, when it gets in the package and it's sitting in a hot truck driving across the U.S. and in 80, 90 degrees over the last couple weeks, it heats that plastic up just enough for it to re-cure basically just solid. So now I'm just leaving it up to you guys to flex them. Speak of the devil.
Yeah. He must have heard us.
His ears were burning.
Yeah. He must have heard us.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So all this that I'm doing tonight is all the parts that are pre-done for you. So this is how I assemble them, pre-assemble them for you so it's good to go, which means it's very little work to do when it gets to you. It's fun. That was part of the whole idea, is that I love building magnetic racing buildings, but I wanted these to be, since there's so many moving parts, I want them to be really simple, easy, couple of steps, and they're done. So yeah, what I like to do now, and here's another update. So first ones I shipped, these were already installed, which this is where they go, and the plug was in. But the way I pack everything in, and Dan from SVR actually helped me figure this one out, it just wrenches on this connection point a little too much, just because I have to smash everything in there. And so instead, these are just coming in the bag. So they're just shipping loose, and there's instructions for you to do it yourself. But for now, what I'm going to do real quick, actually, I'll do that later, because that won't be fun, because you won't be able to see me, because I have to do it on the computer. But I would upload the software, double check that it goes, but I know that it moves, so we're good there. This part is done. There's 2 plugs on there. I didn't show this super great in the first video. There's 2 plugs. This is the plug. That one right there is the plug that goes to these lights, and those turn on when the door is fully open, and then when the door starts to close, they turn off. And then this one, it's initially designed because on the roof, you'll see there's these same channels as on the base plate, because in probably a month, I'm releasing a second story for it. And the second story will have lights in it, and those lights will pass down through this hole and plug into this guy, so that on your remote, A opens the door, B closes the door, C will turn on that second story light, D will turn off that second story light. And then in future projects, so like with the photo sensor thing, C will turn that thing on so it'll start working. D will turn it off, so if you don't want it on during a race or whatever, it won't go. And same with some of the other projects I have. So I want to build some track lights and some billboards that have lights, and all of those will be controlled by this single remote. So C will turn on all the lights on the track that are Show Me Stock Car lights, and D will turn all of them off. So it should be pretty cool. But
And all
that's down the
coming off
road.
this one box.
No, those will have their own box. Those will have their own box. The
Right.
second story, everything on here
Yeah.
will be on that one box. But yeah, there's not enough power coming through that box to hook up a whole bunch of lights to. But
So will I need many remotes for all these different things, or
no, that's what I'm saying. One remote
one
will do
remote will control all
everything.
that? Wow.
Yep.
Cool.
So because it'll be very similar, not the same, but similar communication that this has,
Yeah.
to get that off and on switch. So yeah.
Cool.
And that second story, I have it mostly designed. I have to do a few updates, because this one, parts on here got lots of updates as I was developing it, and then I was doing so many and changing them so often that I stopped making the updates to the second and third story, the other options, and so I gotta go back through and update those so they all match and all work together. But yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be fun. Those will be not nearly as expensive, because there's no moving parts in those, just a light. But yeah, that part is good to go. I'll have to program it, but I'll do that off camera. So that's done. This part we'll save for last. And then really, these are the windows. So that's what I was talking about earlier. There's a door and windows. And all this just pops together. And so it will also just pop apart if you ever needed to change it, or if you decide you want to change the colors and order a new set of trim from me. One remote will do all 20 of garages. Yes, that's true. Because each garage has its own power, and this remote sends out a signal that says open the door, and each of those garages will receive that same signal at the same time, and they will all open. So like in my video, you saw there's 3 of them that all open at the same time. And I've tested this remote. I can do it from upstairs, and it still opens them. So it goes through the floor. So there's not. It's super powerful. Like kind of scary that those signals are going through the air, but it's no less than your Wi-Fi or anything else. So, but yeah, back to the walls. So that just, that's connected, and then it just pops in. These will already be done. I told you about the windows. Those are the light shields. That's what holds the light in. But those will be installed after it's delivered, since I changed how that operates. But yeah, there's two different pieces. The little clear plastic window pane pops right in there, and then boom, that connects. It's all one piece. Got the window pane in there, and then that just pops into here. So the idea is, like, I would ship it like this to you, Raul, but if you wanted to paint the thing, these things both can pop out, and you can go and paint that wall whatever you wanted. If you want to change this color, you can take those apart and paint all those individual colors, whatever color you wanted. So, yeah. Let's see if I put this in the right way. Yeah. So we've got Marty and Joe in the chat. I know they each have one. I don't know if I know PNW was working on thinking about an order with me. We were trying to get that squared away. I don't know if anybody else hopped in.
No, nobody right now. Let's see.
Nobody else has one. No.
We have 11 watching.
Hurry up, get to it. Yeah. You sound like Joe. So Joe says, I need to work on my billboards now. Well, I don't want to work on the billboards right now. Thank you very much. But yeah.
I mean, a product that's well thought out takes time to develop and put together. So I'd rather wait to get it properly developed than for you to rush it out.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, the biggest lesson I learned with developing this one is I can do as many tweaks as I want, like, as I'm developing it. I'm glad I took all the steps I did to get to the point I did. Yeah. But I wish I would have taken the time to print and assemble and pre-pack like 10 of them.
Yeah.
Before I launched it.
Exactly.
So that I could just ship them right off the bat. Yeah. So that lesson was learned, and I will be doing that on the next version, as long as I'm reasonably confident that they're good to go. I'll probably send a couple out to have people test them for me. But yeah, I want to get a bit of an inventory going before I, because right now it's like it comes off the print bed. I build it here while it's printing. I assemble, like, this is one that's not assembled yet. So that's all the bits and parts of the electronics board. So all that's got to get soldered and crimped together. So usually while it's printing, while I'm waiting for a print to finish, I solder that all together. And then as soon as all the parts are done, I put it together like this and pack it up and ship it. You don't need to do. I mean, I'll talk about it on Discord, but I'm sort of keeping it separate because that's like a big community Discord. You're more than welcome to send me a message on there, but I'm taking all orders through my email address just so I can keep track of them. They're all in one place. So it's Show Me Slotcars, no space, no hyphen, just Show Me Slotcars @gmail.com. And if you send me an email there and let me know that you're interested, I'll send you the prices. I'll send you sort of the plan of attack on how I go about it, and then yeah.
I just put it in the chat.
Yeah.
And then
show me, not shoo me.
Yeah, shoo me. Of course.
That's a different channel. But yeah, so it's
okay.
Yeah,
let's do that again.
I've been doing it. Well, that's interesting that it's sending that. It's sending that comment as me, which is weird.
Well, it's because I'm typing in the studio.
Oh, that's
kind
of
cool. The studio kind of sends it at you. So hey, it's it's awesome.
It's black magic. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, those are all good. Um, these are all the parts that get installed once they arrive to you. So those are all in a baggie, ready to go. Another thing I learned when I shipped Joe's these things were loose in there and they got a little beat up because there's a little. In order for the garage to slide in, this has got to be open. That's a little fragile. So what I've been doing to help with that, if I can figure out this mystery puzzle, is slide them together, and then I just use a little masking tape. It's probably like the most expensive masking tape I could use for this, but it's what I got. It's Tamiya masking tape. I'm sure you've
Oh my
used
god.
it before.
You're a very, very, very nice person.
Well, it's it's from back in my more modeling days. I don't use it for that anymore. I don't do much of that anymore. So I had it here. It's the right size, so I'm using it, and then I'll buy the cheap stuff when this one's out. But yeah. So just shoot me an email, and I'll get back to you. I've been pretty good about responding. It will I do have a bit of a backup. I am printing them as I get orders, and so I'll put you in the queue once we decide how many and all that. And I've got a spreadsheet going on who's next, and once it gets up to the point where I'm working on yours, I'm building yours, I'll give you a heads up. I don't collect payment until I ship them, just in case something happens on your end or my end. And so yeah, then I'll let you know when they're ready to ship. I take PayPal, and yeah. So that is, almost forgot this part. So this is for that extra slot. So if you're not getting the second garage, but you wanted to add like an outside light above the door, you wanted to add some sort of your own light, this is basically just a pigtail. So it's got a positive and negative wire on it. You could hook up any light that can take 5 volts. So depending on what light you have, you might need, if it takes lower than that, you might need a resistor in there. I'm not getting involved in that, so use it at your own risk. You might burn out your lights if it's too much, but yeah, then it plugs in right there, and then you can feed this out through the door. You can feed it out through the hole in the bottom, and light whatever other lights you want. And this switch or this outlet works on that C and D. So C turns it on, D turns it off. So yeah, but I include that just because having the tool you need to make this kind of connector, it's not hard, but it's like a special crimping tool, and it comes with it when you order the little connectors and the plugs, but yeah, you can order them in like sets of 100, and if you only need one, it doesn't make sense to have all of that sitting around. So I just made that real quick so that you can add on lights if you want. But when I do the second story, it'll have the wire all ready to go, so it just plugs right in there. Well, that's good. The last thing I typically do, of course now I can't find it, is sign them. So we'll sign this one. At show me plot cars. And this is, I gotta check and see what
Man, I can't paint the floor now.
you don't want to paint the underside.
Well, that's the underside, thank God.
Yeah, it's the underside.
All right.
And the funny thing is, I originally was just doing this so I could keep track of what number. So, like, if something happened and I need to figure out, let's see, this one is number 11. Need to figure out, like, what version it was or that sort of thing. And then people were like, well, what number am I going to get? I'm like, okay. Like, can't wait to see the signature. I was like, okay. I didn't think that was going to be a big deal. So, just like that, that's number 11. It's ready to roll. Same process if you want some shoes. I mean, to be honest, you don't want any shoes that I got in this house. They're all used, and yeah, you don't want them, trust me. I'm going to go grab some bags real quick so we can finish wrapping this one up. And then, yeah, we'll see what kind of time we're at. And we'll go from there.
All right. Well, Pete's gone to go
Yeah.
get some bags. There you go.
Quick, just right down the way. Make sure I got the screws in there. I forgot that one time. Sorry, Jim, if you're watching. But yeah, it's been fun to get pictures and videos and photos of it on other people's tracks.
It's time for you to have a website, dude.
Yeah, I know. Several people have offered. It's funny. Several people have offered to trade for different things, and the most common request is to build a website for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I appreciate that, but I just right now I like doing it on just an email. I like being simple. I think once I get a couple of like options, like if you're, when I get more official with color options and that sort of thing, and like, okay, you need this light hub and these lights to work together, I'll definitely need a website at that point. But right now, I like doing it the way I'm doing. Mostly because I can kind of some sort fly under the radar a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
But yeah, also wanted to make sure that I got all the prices locked and all that stuff. But I'm pretty sure I've landed where it's going to land. So that's that guy. I still got to program the other piece, so I'm not gonna put that together. But yeah, that is that. And then with each order, I've got it around here somewhere. So like this is the order that's going out, has 2 garages, so there'll be 2 in the package. Well, they'll be stuck like this. And then this one is the one that comes 1 per. So if you saw the launch video or Joe's video or Marty's video, it's got the billboards on the top. They're magnetic, so you can change them. So you get 1 Show Me Stock Cars one. If you want your own custom one, I can make one very similar or different colors or different patterns, whatever font you want. I can get that, build you one of those. That's $35 to add that on, just because it takes me a little bit of time to design it. And then that remote comes with it too. So that's the key fob remote. And then I just got a little Show Me Stock Cars keychain. It's a little piece of Carrera track. I designed that a long time ago and didn't know what to do with it, and now I found a home for it. But yeah, that goes in there too. So you get that because you only need one remote, no matter how many garages you have. And then that, after I program it in the morning, will go out the door. So yeah, and then this one gets loaded with new parts, and I solder them up.
Start all over again.
Yeah, start all over again. And I've got another one most of the way printed. I think I'm waiting on maybe one more batch of parts. And then this board will go into that one, and we'll ship that one out. And I'm pretty close to caught up after that one, which is good. I have some that are intentionally waiting a little bit longer. One, I don't know if Nico wants me to tell this all up. I'm gonna say it anyway. Nico's got that group. His club is doing the swap meet, and so I'm sending him a couple for that. But it's not till November, so I got a little time for that. And then my good buddy MB Auto Detail. If you guys are on the Discord, I'm sure you've interacted with him there. I've been over to his house because he lives right down the road from my parents, and he asked me to hand deliver it to him. So next time I'm up in Milwaukee, which will probably be November-ish, I'm gonna hand deliver his. So I got a little time for that too. But yeah, it's been crazy. But with one printer, I was getting like 3/4 of one done in a day, and now with 2 printers going with that material swapper, I can get two of the printed parts done for 2 garages in a single day.
That's good.
And so
Doubled up.
yeah, that's helping a lot, mostly with my peace of mind. Because I was getting a little panicked there. I was like, this is so great that everybody wants it and everybody's excited about it, but I'm down in my basement 24/7 building these things. Am I full digital on my track? Yep. Yep. I have zero plans to go analog. I did analog when I did HO, and the whole reason I switched to 132 was because of digital. And so I have no plans to switch. But I always say never. Um,
We're just gonna
but
go
yeah,
to 124 digital, right?
yeah, I do want to try that. Um,
That's a lot of fun.
and I know that like if there was a club in town or like a regular race meetup with other slot heads, like I have buddies come over and race, but they just race my cars and we just goof around and drink beers and have a good time. And I think part of the reason why they enjoyed it as much is because of the lane changes and the pit stops and all that stuff. But if there was a club that was analog, I'd probably be in the same boat as you, Marty, where I would dabble in a little both and maybe even switch all the way. But there's not, at least not that I've found so far. And so, yeah, I'm sticking with digital. That's the whole reason I switched to the scale. It's funny because if I had this size table in my old HO, that would be a massive track, and it would be so rad to have it on. I mean, it'd be so cool to have it on that big of a table. But yeah, I love the lane changes and the pit lanes and the ghost laps, and I had a lot of cool like a quasi pit stop. I mean, it was a pit stop, just not a dedicated pit lane on my HO track. But but yeah, I didn't, and it's cool, and I still race on it. It's at my dad's house. I'm sure you guys have seen that on some of our lives when I'm up there. But I'm not locked into Carrera only. I've dabbled in. Actually, I
Chip
can go grab.
installations, anyway.
I've done a couple of installations. Where are those cars? They're like hiding because I never raced them. Um, but yeah, I went to a swap meet last spring, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna pull the trigger because none of my local shops have anything other than Carrera Electric, and so I bought that slotted,
Lola. Yeah.
and I chipped that one, and I bought this Revel Fun Cup just because I love the Beetle. I know Marty, you're a Beetle guy too. I drove one. I think we drove the same year. Um, but yeah, chipped that one. This one is super squirrely. It just fishtails all over the place. And so, and it used to come out of the track. So actually, I forgot that I even did this. I designed and 3D printed a new guide for it because I couldn't find anything that would do the trick. So I
Oh,
just
nice. Maybe you can print one of those guys for me.
yeah. Oh yeah, because you have
Yeah, I have the
the M&M
M&M
one,
one.
don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one's cool. But I like this guy. I love it a lot. It's fun, but it's super squirrely, and there's no. I mean, those tires are so narrow. There's nothing I can. I mean, there's no
It's
aftermarket
good for
tires I can
ice
get on there to
racing.
help. Yeah, yeah. And then this guy, she's just so fragile
Yeah.
that it makes me nervous. I wish I could do more of this style, like LMP style car. But yeah,
Well, Electric
just
has a
so
couple of
fragile.
LMPs coming out.
Yeah, I
So,
saw.
and with the Carson chip, you can chip them very easily.
Yeah, because it's got the DPR or whatever it is.
Yeah, the DPR door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely considering more scale electric cars to chip.
Yeah.
Um, the problem is that none of the people that race on my track are. I wouldn't call myself serious, but they're not even as serious as I am about it, and so there's a lot of crashes. And I know that if I got four of these, they would go for one night and then they would be in pieces and I would never race them. And so, unfortunately, she's a shelf queen right now. But I love it and it's beautiful and yeah, it looks great on the track. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I haven't dabbled too much. But if I raced more regularly with like more serious drivers, I'm sure I would do more. And then Joe actually called me. Or he sent me a message on I don't know Monday or Tuesday, and he's like, "Hey, you got a package?" I'm like, "What? You at my house? How do you know I got a package?" And so I go up to the mailbox, and sure enough, I got a package. I open it up, and it's the one from your house rule that I've been talking about forever.
Yes,
My first
yes.
Carrera Beetle. Um, I'm super stoked. I haven't even put it on the track yet because my track was full of garage parts for a while, but I cleaned it up last night. So tonight after the stream, I'm gonna do a few laps. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about it. So thank you for letting him get his hands on it, and thank you, Joe, for sending it to me. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Yeah, and now it's like my first group fives, and I gotta get some running mates with it. So that gives me an excuse to go shopping for some new cars. But yeah, I just think it's awesome. So thanks, guys. But yeah, I run silicone because Joe talked me into silicone, and that's a whole. I mean, I'm sure it'll come up again.
You run silicone now?
I've run silicone for a while, like shortly
Oh
after
yeah,
he did it,
yeah.
and because he convinced me, he's like, it's so easy, you just put it on, it's so much, and I did it, and like an idiot, I tossed, or I didn't even toss, I just put all of the tires that of my stock tires into a bag, and then into like a baggie because I was like, oh, I'll save them. And then when I was at the swap meet, there was a guy selling like this huge bag. I think I've got it over here. He was selling this huge bag of slot car tires, and I was like, oh man, this would be so cool to use as scenery. And so it's like this huge bag of tires, and it's like $2. I was like, I gotta do that. Like it'd be so cool to have real tire, like slot car tire barriers on my track. That'd be so rad. And then once I was using silicones for a little while, I was like, oh, well, I won't need these. So I just dumped them in here. And now there's no telling which ones those are. So I was going to switch
Well,
back.
you don't need to switch back to your original. You just gotta
I
get
know.
Paul Gage urethanes.
But then I need a tire truer and I need all that. But
Yeah.
I think it's my next.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my next progression for sure. I think probably before I buy more cars, I'm gonna either buy or I'm thinking about printing the tire truer that Greg Gobb makes
Yeah.
because I can order all the parts for it and put it together. I love the silicones, Marty. I do, but my basement, the floor is it's like a I don't even know. It's not a filter at all. It's like huge gaps, and so the dust and the dog hair is all over my track. And so I clean it often. I have the cleaning truck now, and I swapped out that back pad to. I've been using tack cloth from the hardware store. So I've been switching, and I just attach that to the back of it. Cleans great. It does great. It doesn't leave any residue. It's nice and clean, and so that works. But yeah, I know I get you, Marty. I understand. But and then also it was a slight improvement when I that actually the tire truer tire cleaner um, that Dusty printed and gave to you that has like it just slots on the track. I printed that and took out the back part and put just a green Brillo pad in it. And I squirt that with simple green and run the cars on that before every race, and it does the trick. It's just if we're doing like 100 laps at towards the end of that race, it's dicey. There's Joe. Joe's back to defend his silicone throne. But yeah, no, I get it, and I know it's not difficult to clean the track. I'm just lazy, and I'm sure I wouldn't have any better luck with urethanes. I would still need to clean the track, but yeah, I don't know. I have all my cars have silicones, and I actually just ordered silicones for this one, so I'll probably stick with it. I don't know. I go back and forth. It's one of those things I don't think either decision is right for me. So I'll switch everything to urethane and be like, oh, you know what? I
Okay.
really miss
Once you go
silicone.
124, you won't go to silicone anymore.
No,
No.
yeah, I'm interested. I just love the fact that they're closer to scale speed, right? They're just a little bit more burly on the track, a little bit more. I think all the videos I've seen, they just look more realistic racing. I mean, they look rad. So
Yeah.
we'll see. One day. I
One
don't.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one day
Um,
I'll race 124. I want to. I really do. It's just like, and I don't even have that many cars, so I wouldn't even have to. I mean, to me, I have a lot of cars, but yeah, I
Marty
like
says
the.
they're slow, but the for I prefer that without the mags on 124. They're pretty nice. I don't think that that's slow at 18.5 volts. They book it. They're fine. They're fun.
I don't have any 124s. No, I don't. I like the idea. I want to try it. Problem is none of the shops so I know this is terrible and people are probably going to give me a hard time about this, but I don't order cars online. I only buy them in stores because I like to look at them, I like to touch them, I like to feel them, and none of the shops around me have 124 Carrera cars, so I haven't bought any. But I know at the swap meet that I'll be going to. There's another one. There was just one in beginning of August, and I think there's another one in December, maybe. There's like three a year. It's Hot Wheels and Stock Car swap meet. It used to be right down the road from my house, and now it's on the other side of the river, but still like 45 minutes away, real close. But yeah, I know that the couple of the guys who are some of the bigger vendors at this thing that go every time have some 124, so I'll grab one or two and see what it's all about. But I'm hoping that I can get enough of these garages printed so I can bring them and get a table at the thing so I can kind of show them off in real life to the folks there. So we'll see. We'll see. See how it goes.
Sounds like a plan.
Bobcat tires. Oh, Marty's answering. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's so like we at Ernie's run silicone too. Like he's got the quick slick stuff,
Yeah.
but
That's what I
I
would.
don't
That's
know.
what I buy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced on silicone tires yet. I like I like the rubber stuff.
I think like the fact that you can actually true them and get them like
Yeah,
round is a big because then you're getting and I've gone round and round with
I don't know. It's
Joe
also
about this.
satisfying to be able to true your tires and know that you got them flat, and you can
Yeah.
control that shape, and you can with the silicones. I don't know, Marty. Are you truing your silicones, and what are you using to true them, and how long does it take? Because I've heard just horror stories about
Yeah,
silicone
me too.
truing.
Me too. So I
Right.
haven't
So
even attempted. But yeah, it's just like truing them and getting like grip from actual like the tire, like a real tire instead of like this weird sticky material. Like that idea appeals to me. Like the fact that it's like, yeah, these are a little bit closer to like the way tires actually work, as opposed to like, some weird super sticky compound on there. Yeah, Marty says don't waste time truing
yeah,
silicone.
it's just it's pointless. I'm very interested in the foam stuff. So I did ask Ernie today about the foam tires for stock cars. So I know they run them according to Nico. They run 1/32 on foam in Europe. So
Yeah, and
definitely
he
gonna
sent
check those out.
that car he sent to Joe came with foam tires. So Joe's
Yeah,
been
that's
tuning them.
124. All my 124 from that I got tuned for the wood track all have foam tires.
Oh,
They're all
okay.
running foams. Yeah. So, but
Oh, yeah, but you're talking about 132s with
132.
foam.
I had never seen a 132 foam tire, so um, Ernie's gonna order some in for me, and I'm gonna do a
Cool.
test on them and see. But Ernie, like I said, Ernie's got these new tires that he creates, which have foam inserts. They're air gap wheels with foam inserts in them, and then the rubber
Huh.
goes on top. And those foam inserts are glued into the air channels. It's a really
Oh,
weird, yeah. It's a really cool and unique process. So he's given me some of those tires to test out. So I'm gonna run some laps and test that and see what
that's
that
cool.
looks like. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I still need to finish the construction on my table, and then I'm gonna start my actual scenery. I've landed on the layout that I'm running right now. I need to do another video on it so I can show it off. I've just done some pictures, I think. But yeah, it's enough technical. It has some longer straights. Got kind of a cool overpass. Yeah, I'm digging it. And the main thing is I switched. It sort of goes opposite of what you normally would think, where I put the pit lane is on the outside of the loop, so it kind of turns around. And anyway, it's kind of hard to describe. I'll do a video on it soon. But that way, because I know a lot of people are concerned about line of sight with the pit garages because they're a little bit taller than the Carrera ones. But mine are on the outside now, so they're up against the edge of the table. The way I designed my track, so that sort of negated that. It also made for better angles of shooting video of it and taking some pictures of it. And then as a result, it was like, this track's pretty cool. So I've got some plans to build some permanent scenery, and the tables still have to be able to come apart. So there's going to be some like gaps and lines in the scenery, so I can still take it apart. But yeah, that's the plan. But I got to finish trimming up the tables. I built them over a year ago now, and I never finished them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to try and build a small diorama for with my Collector track.
That'd be
So
fun.
yeah, with modular terrain, see if I can get it accomplished on a smaller scale, and then we'll go from there. We'll
Yeah,
try
I
that
saw
out.
some. I was looking up for some inspiration the other night on YouTube, and I just typed in like slot car scenery, and there was these shorts that came up of this guy who just makes like they're like tiny dioramas. There's no track attached to it, but then they just slide up and they're the perfect height right next to the track. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do too. Just
Yeah,
have
that's a
a
really
small
cool
track
idea.
and then be able to switch it out for different
Yeah.
kind of dioramas in there. So like when I'm shooting, if I'm shooting a Batman car, I want a Batman diorama kind of
Oh
thing. So
yeah,
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 so
that would be cool.
so if and then when I'm shooting drift cars, I want drifting dioramas and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like a
So
cityscape, and yeah, that'd be
yeah,
cool.
so that's what I'm trying to do with foam core because foam board is easier to work with, a lot faster to cut and stuff, and easier to work with. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
It's funny.
cool.
Marty's mentioned about problems with height. Oh, height of the garage. Yeah, I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it doesn't have any problems with the height of garage.
Yeah, because it's you got plenty of room behind it to see over it. But
Hey, told you how are you?
told you.
Yeah.
How you doing, man? Thanks for joining us. We're just wrapping up. Yeah, I was gonna build another one, but it'll take me another hour, and I don't think any of us have it in us for another hour. Well, I don't know. Maybe you guys do, but yeah.
Hey, Chris,
Glad
how
you
are
like it,
you?
Marty. I really do. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
think
everybody coming.
everyone's moving,
Shotgun
coming in
Dave.
now.
Everybody's coming in now, right? As I'm like, okay, maybe I should just build another one. But yeah, been answering a few questions. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been good. I was gonna show one done, but I realized that the ones that are on my table are like older versions of it. Because of course I was joking with somebody else that it's like being a handyman or being a mechanic that I'm building all the like done finished pretty ones for everybody else and shipping them out, but the ones on my table, like none of them are plugged in. Half of them don't have lights in it. Half of them I don't even know if they work anymore because I haven't tested them. But yeah, it's I'm getting all the good ones out to you guys, and then and mine are like the old version of the walls, the old version of the roof, and it's if you looked at them you wouldn't know, but if I was trying to show you how they work, these ones don't not all of them work the same way. Somehow I got like 3 chats behind. Oh, way more than 3 chats behind.
How's everyone saying hi to everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Told you just wrapped up race night. That's fun. That's fun. I was just talking. My wife and kiddo are going out of town on like a mother-daughter camp something in October, and I sent out the bat signal to all my buddies. It's like, hey, we got a whole weekend of racing. Who's coming? So that should be fun. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Because last time we did that, there was like 12 of us that came over, and it was an absolute shit show. But it was so much fun. Pardon my French, but yeah, it was a hot mess, and there's a lot of crashing, and there was a lot of beverage partaking, but it was a lot of fun. We went till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, it was good. 7 people. That's awesome. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I usually try to do them every couple of months, but during the summer, just like with the soccer channel or YouTube channel, it's like there's a million other things going on, and daughter's soccer and camping trips and vacations and travel for work and everything else. It's like, yeah, I don't have time. If I have a free Saturday evening, don't necessarily want to spend it with my buddies race in the basement. But now that it's getting a little colder and there's less to do outside and it gets darker earlier, then we'll get them back going. So I think I'm gonna do one in October. Try to do one. Usually do one like Thanksgiving week down here. Do it on what do they call it now? It's Black Friday and then it's like Amateur Wednesday or something. I don't know what. Somebody will probably correct me, but it's the night before Thanksgiving is like the biggest party night of the year in the U.S. So it's when everybody goes out because they're back home from college or work or whatever, and they all go out to the bars and usually get arrested on the drive home. But anyway,
So,
usually I try to get a race night together that night and have some friends over.
so that Volkswagen you're holding was
Yep.
actually picked out by my daughter. It
Oh,
was her
really?
first stock car that she picked out.
Really? That's
Yeah,
cool.
and then she picked out the Apple Kramer Porsche, and that became her car. And this car
Yeah.
got put aside.
Yeah, put on the
So
shelf.
yeah, so that's why that car is the way it is. But yeah,
Oh yeah, I love it. Well, and I was so excited to get this one because I was like, that is like a souped up version of the exact Beetle that I drove. In fact, I think I've got this picture frame my wife gave me a couple years ago. We'll see if it shows up. It's really dusty. But yeah, it's me at a car show in like 2010,
oh yeah, nice.
2009, something like that. That was my Super Beetle. And so I was like, yeah, this one's just like it. It's cool. And then I like put the chip in it. I was super excited to race it. And like the first time it was like first corner, and like quarter speed, it just goes flying off. I'm like, oh. And then try to make some adjustments, and there's not much to do to it, but it's still fun. Yeah, 71 Super Beetle, Marty. I'm pretty sure it's the same. It might even be the same one that you have. I don't know. Not the exact same car, but the same model. Because I think yours is right around that same time. But yeah,
Yeah, so Warren asked me about these NSR Nationals. I haven't
yeah,
looked
he
into
was.
it at all. I do know that MP is in Italy right now, so when he gets back, we'll talk about that. But yeah, anyway,
And where is it? Is that the one in Michigan,
I think it's in
or is it up by
Michigan.
you guys? Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, Marty. Mine was a 71 Super Beetle. So it was the first year of the Super. So it still had the flat windshield, but it was a Super Beetle because it had the elongated nose. And there's something else too that it had that was the indicator. I don't remember what though. But yeah, I love that car. But I drove it as my daily driver for a couple years, which that car is not made to do that. And
I don't know what
yeah,
it is. So
but yeah, it. I drove it home, and I tore that. I dropped the motor out of the back of it. Rebuilt it all the way down, split the case, got everything remachined, put it all back together, lifted it back up into it, put it together, worked great for a couple years after that. It was just like purring like a cat, and then you always got to do a little bit of work to it, but like the third time in like 2 months, I was broken down on the way home from work, and I was just like, nope. I pushed it off the road into this church's parking lot, and I put it on Craigslist before I even got home. And I was just like, if you want it for, I don't even remember how much I sold it, but it's like, here's where it is. I'll meet you there. Like, you got to get it from this parking lot though, and I have 7 days to do it. Otherwise, they're gonna tow it. And obviously looking back on that, I was young and dumb, and I should have just gotten it towed and put it in my garage and just left it there. But yeah, oh well. Oh well, my mom had it before me. My uncle had it for a little while. My mom owned it, and then my uncle bought it from her when they moved to Connecticut. And then he had, I think it's when he had kids or when they moved houses or something. They didn't want it anymore, and so my mom bought it back from him. And I was going to school here in Missouri. She was living in Connecticut. She flew in, and her and I loaded my luggage from college, hopped in it, and drove from St. Louis to back to Connecticut. And it was like top down most of the way. It was a blast. I'll remember that forever. Um, yeah, I'll remember that one forever. And then she kept it for a while, and then yeah, they were like, "Oh, we're thinking about getting rid of it," and I was like, "No, I'll buy it from you guys." They shipped it back here, so it's been all over the country. And then some guy who's a Beetle like aficionado, a local Beetle legend, bought it and restored it and sent me pictures. And I remember when he bought it from me, he's like, "I'll send you pictures when it's done." I was like, "I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it because I know you're probably gonna do a great job making it look all fancy, and I don't. It's just gonna make me wish I didn't sell it." And he sent them to me anyway. I was glad he did, but 63 bus. I always shopped for buses, but they were always in really rough shape. Really rough shape. And those things don't last nearly as long as the Beatles. So if they were still in one piece, they usually cost a fortune, or they're beat to shit and they're reasonably priced. But
Well,
all right, guys.
I think we're gonna call it.
Oh yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. I appreciate everybody joining. Yeah, we got a great turnout. I really appreciate it. Everybody coming. If you guys have any more questions, you can either hop on, my channel page. There's a link to the Discord. You can send me an email. Show me slotcars, not shoot me slotcars. Show me slotcars at gmail.com. Hop on Discord. Send me a message. You can either send it in the main Slot Yard Discord or just send me a direct message. Send me an email. Whatever you want, guys. You can comment on this video if you weren't live, and I might be able to answer some questions there. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody joining. Thanks, Raul, for moderating the chat and chatting with me. So I'm not the super awkward guy, just talking to myself over here. But yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully everybody has a good rest of the weekend, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Thanks, everybody.